Happy deadlift day, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well. Looking forward to the weekend. I still don't have power at my house, and we're at 6 days now. Shame. But life is worse. People in the 1700s were happy, so why can't I be? That's why we're at the gym today. But we're doing 18-inch deadlifts. I'm going to work up somewhere around 1,000 pounds today. Last week I hit 470, easy. I'll be somewhere between 430 and 450 today. Next week, I'll be 500 plus kilos. But I am here for you guys to answer any of your questions. We have the members only chat turned on, so they are the only ones who can comment. If you want to join that, we'll put a link to that in the comment thread, and we will pin that so you can join up. We have an exercise library going on there. We have about 40 exercises, and we continue to add more every single week. So if you're interested, go ahead and pop onto that. Last thing, before I start answering your questions and lifting, today's video brought to you by the LHBK duffel bag. Everything I grab will be in my deadlift suit, to my straps. All of my sleeves are in here. I have literally everything I need in this bag. I've gone from a full suitcase down to this. It's got dividers, tons of pockets. So if you want to check that out, head over to lhbk.shop. If you want to support the channel, support me, get a great lifting bag with a great message, please go ahead and do so. It would mean the world. We've got so much positive feedback, including a major magazine asking us to send them a bunch of co-branded LHBK bags with their magazine because they saw it at one of our shows and loved it, as will you. So without further ado, let's get to some deadlifting and answer your questions, comments, concerns, admirations, complaints, whatever you have. I'm here to hear them.
All right, so with that being said, members, put some questions in there.
We should prepare them. We have Quinn.
Oh, yes, I'm not Alicia.
Marketing with us today instead of Alicia. He is way less pretty, but he'll get the job done. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, members, let's get some chat. Let's get some questions in the chat over there.
I love this deadlift variation. 18 inches. It feels like there's almost nothing that I can't lift. Like 470 felt still like nothing. The only trouble on this setup is it's such a pain to add the 55-pound plates.
All right, I got a question.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one's not actually a question. It's Dalton, and he wants to inform you that he's 6 foot barefoot, not 5'10". All right?
Dalton, I've established this concern before. I don't think that any man on the planet is actually 6 feet tall. I think if you say you're 6 feet, you're 5'10", and you're trying to add to be in the 6 foot club. I stick to that opinion. That is firm. So I will forever give you shit, and you can forever deny your 5'10"ness.
All right, I got another question. You ready?
Yep.
So I'm going to butcher this name, but says Manir, my best try. For advantaged raised deadlifts, do you recommend alternating heavy weeks and lighter weeks for CNS fatigue? He has framed deadlifts for nationals.
It depends how close you are to your genetic potential. So for myself, I am undulating right now, of course, under the direction of laws, but I agree with the prescription, of course. So if you're close to what you think you're forever going to be able to do, let's say you've been training for 5 or more years consistently, yes, heavy deadlift week after week, it's going to take a toll. It's going to be too much. But if you're in your first few years of training, you can push close to failure on a regular basis and make really good, steady progress. So assess for yourself where you're at. And if you are more on the beginner side than professional side, go ahead and practice every week. Okay, this is 170 kilos, but 380 pounds. You'll notice in my warm-ups, I'll do singles after I get to any sort of effort at all. So I did sets of 5 at 120 kilos or 264 pounds. Now, where I'm high 300s and on, I'll just hit a bunch of singles. I'll stay warm enough between loading my own plates and jumping the barbell like that. But I don't want to put too much energy into all of my warm-up sets. That will burn my nervous system and I won't be near as powerful. This logic applies if you're adding tons of plates, and it does not apply if your max is, say, 2 plates or so, or 3 plates, in which case you'd want to do more reps, more warm-up beforehand to make sure your tissues are pliable and ready to go. Strap time.
All right. First up, do you have any predictions for Europes?
Yeah, I think. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, of course. Predictions for Europes. Yeah, I think top 3 is both Luke's and Mateusz, if everyone's in full form. Yeah, that's my prediction. I'll be interested to see Andre Foytson and how he does. There'll be certain things that I'll be interested to see, like Rano deadlifting, always fun. But I'm interested for sure on Mateusz and what kind of shape he's in, because I think we all secretly hope for Mateusz to do really well. And I say secretly because, like, as a competitor who is very high quality, but if he beats me one day, there'll be a part of me that smiles because he deserves it in a big way. He's been through so much. So I hope he puts on a good performance.
All right. Next up's from Jonah. How tired do you have to feel to decide to skip a workout and focus on recovery?
It depends on what kind of tired. It really depends. So if you're sleepy tired, you can get over it and you can have a great workout. But if you just don't want to be in the gym, you don't want to do anything, the feeling that I describe is if you're like literally want to lie on the couch, do absolutely nothing and just vegetate, that is neural fatigue done. If you're irritable, if you're foggy, you can't think clearly, all of those things, take the day off. But when you get to a place of neural fatigue, you don't take one day off and the next day feel amazing. It's time for a full deload week. And take that week, relax, allow your body to recuperate, and then kick in to your training the next day. The next week.
You want to do another one before you lift?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, so we got a super chat from the SLK66. How much do you plan to deadlift in training to know you'll pull 500 kilograms plus at Worlds? Any hints you can give us on the pressing events in the Worlds finals?
Sure. So next week I'll be with Laws, and he'll be on live streams as well. I will pull more than 500 kilos in training. In fact, next week I'll be pulling 500 kilos. It's all effort based, and that's not close to my maximum. But maybe it is. It doesn't feel like it's going to be. So world record is 527, 530 kilos on this world setup. That's what Alexi hit years ago. And I would like to be good for that. 507-ish kilos was good points when they did this last time. I would like that to be maybe like a second attempt sort of training lift, and then be prepared to go 530 if I need to. But if we think about the deadlifters going to Worlds this year, in terms of partial deadlifts, you know, what's the odds Alexi makes the finals? Like, maybe he does, and I hope he does, but he hasn't been in good shape in a long time. So who are really the best partial deadlifters? Like, Trey, I haven't seen anything, but allegedly he's not looking convincing from an elevated height. Now, he'll get it to a good place. I know that because he's a great athlete. But do you go from struggling to breaking a world record or something? Not really. So I don't think anyone other than me would be capable of touching or itching at that world record. In which case, I'm looking at this event as one that I want to be able to win, and I want to be able to win with a bit of energy conserved. Now, maybe a Matt Rag comes in and destroys it, but other major competitors, Lucas Hatton is not going to light the world on fire with this one. Evan struggles a lot at the top half of his deadlift. He's not going to be overly high on this. Trey hasn't looked great. Tom, last time he did it, was in the 475 kilo-ish. So and that's when his deadlifts were better. So maybe they'll be a bit down from there. Maybe not, don't know. But that's sort of how I anticipate things going. I think low 500s will be enough to win this year. And this is 270 or about 600 pounds. Now, I will be chucking a suit on at some stage, but not quite yet.
We got a bit of a technique question.
Yep.
So David, TOB, wants to know, how do you lean back on an overhead press? Do you brace differently than most people?
I don't know is the answer. I'm not going to pretend it's thoracic extension. It's all through my low back. But what tends to happen for me is if I push up hard enough, my body just drops instead of the bar going up. And then my arms are locked and then I stand up. It doesn't bother me. There was a period of adaptation where my back would get sore. But I certainly don't brace overhead pressing like I do a squat or a deadlift. I'll take my breath, but my breath, to be honest, it feels like it's high when I overhead press. Almost like I'm filling up my chest a little bit more than my stomach, which would tend to allow for that motion. So it's something that a lot of coaches would probably try to correct. But at this stage in my career, with what I'm doing now, your goal isn't to be healthy as a top-level strongman. Your goal is to win strongman shows. And that's what allows me to win strongman shows. So I don't know what my back will be like down the track for it. Hopefully not too bad. But yeah, it's just what allows me to get by. And if you naturally don't go in that position, you're not able to get there, it's not really something I would encourage people to train. Although I would encourage you on overhead presses to watch whatever the implement is all the way to lockout and then bring your head through. Because if you look up, you're going to open your thoracic vertebrae and you're going to get some chest involved as well.
All right, I'm going to hit you with one more before you lift. So, Josh Manis wants to know, are you still going to push the name Large Legs Lucas Hatton with him now deciding he likes it better than the Mad Hatter?
Yeah. No, I'm not doing it to troll him. I think it's funny. But it's just like the first name people were calling him. And yeah, I like it. Although, like, to live up to the nickname, I would want him to lean the wheels out a bit. It would be sort of like calling him like Iron Large Arms Bibby. Like, yes, they are large, but let's see some separation in what the deal is. So, yes, I support Large Legs Lucas Hatton, who, by the way, I get asked this quite like a disproportionate amount about Lucas because he does things a lot like me. where he's confident to put his opinion out there, talk about other guys, talk about the events, talk about what he thinks I can do, talk about me in relation to shows, and goes on. He went on with Matt Rhodes and talked. I love Lucas. I think he's a great dude. I think he's doing a lot of right things. And when you put yourself out there and you do things that help you get your name out in the sport, there are a faction of people who don't like that. I will never be in that faction of people. He is doing the best thing for him. I think he's doing great things. I want to do some collab videos with him. I want to get out to that gym over in Washington. And yeah, that's a special gym with Angelica Jardine, with Lucas Hatton, with Aaron Murray. And I know they have a couple of like close to pro people or like close to top level pro people. They got something pretty cool going out there. So I'd love to see what it's all about. The one thing that's strange with Lucas though, is he lives with his coach. Like if I lived with Laws, we would just talk about strongman all day, every day, and I would hate it in about a week. So he must love the sport. Super dose of love for strongman. All right, this is 370 kilos. Last lift before I put on a belt for 420. Then I'll put on a suit and we'll see what that feels like. It's just so easy. But it is confusingly easy. No, that's 320. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
That's why it was easy.
That's why it was easy.
All right, I got another one. So I think I got his name down this time. Seismanier says this. He just gifted us a membership so you can get real clips and not spring clips. Just so you know.
No, I refuse. I will spend your money on drugs and prostitution. They asked about the finals event for Worlds.
Yeah. Is there a pressing event?
Yeah, the pressing event. There's always a pressing event. Yeah. And I'm not allowed to release anything. I'm not allowed to actually say what it is. But what can I say? I don't know, why don't you throw in some guesses? Throw in some guesses. And then I will not react to them. But maybe through my reaction, you might be able to deduce something. A lot of people are guessing what it is, by the way.
Right. Just want to highlight, we got a new member too, Andrew.
New member?
New member named Andrew.
Andrew, welcome. Enjoy the exercise library. And now that you have member privileges, feel free to leave a comment.
All right. And I'll hit you with one more before you get into that lift.
Yep.
But another name I'm going to butcher, but Bentz, the Hungarian ogre, says, good luck with my name, but I'm sick of bench pressing, so I'll switch to an overhead press. Is flat bench press still a good accessory for overhead, or should I do incline?
It depends how you do it, is the answer I can give. So if you think overhead press, elbows are forward, and you're sort of driving like this. And so if you're benching like this, not much is going to happen. But if you can really tuck your elbows and focus on driving back towards your forehead, that is a similar motion to here. So yes, tuck the elbows, drive back towards your forehead, and you should be good to go. Okay, 370.
We should do ASMR videos for you putting on your deadlift suit.
I don't want to wear it today, to be honest. It's just so much. I feel like if I just saved the energy and did 430, 450 raw, I would be better off, but whatever. Whatever, Laws.
You're asking the wrong person.
You're so cool. All right, we're going to make this even easier than the last one. Not easier, but fine. This week I've also added an extra mat. So this is closer to 17 and a half inches than 18. You'll notice me and JF, very similar heights. And JF on this setup at Worlds sort of started right about here on him. So this is definitely lower than it needs to be. But it's just because I'm pretty hardcore. Quinn, let's let the people decide if I put on the suit or not. Whatever, comment suit or no suit. And whichever comment gets posted 3 times first is what I'll do today. Regardless, I'm going to do 430 to 455-ish. Of course, a bit heavier if it's in the suit.
All right, just so you know, we have there's some votes for you to put the suit on today. Just so you know.
Okay. All right. They just want to see me take my pants off.
All right, got a question here from Anthony Flores.
Yep.
If you were pulling a 5.5 plate PR, what would your warm up be? Laws has one scheduled for me Sunday.
If I was pulling a what PR?
5.5 plate.
Deadlift?
Yeah.
I would do 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate, 5.5 plate. I don't complicate things too much. Simple as that. Those would be my warm ups.
All right, here's one. Nas has asked, how does it feel to be strong as fuck?
Feels good. Well, it feels good when you're lifting weights, but because I'm not strong at all times of year. So the difference between like me strong and me not strong, I am less comfortable when I'm strong on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, that's really it. Like I'm heavier. I feel like fuller. Although right now I'm like halfway in between, I'd say. I feel really strong, but I feel strong when I'm lifting weights, but I don't feel strong when I'm not lifting weights, if that makes sense. The like bloating, the like kind of heavy and slow feeling I just don't have right now. I will. And it's all relative to me. When I feel bloated and slow, I am still fast in my cohort. Quinn, I left the hard belt in the room. Would you mind grabbing it? So this is going to be 420 kilos. I'll do this without a suit on, and then I'll chuck the suit on for, I'll do something similar. This week, I was just instructed to make whatever I do move and feel easy. So more likely than not, with a belt on, this should feel pretty easy. I use these certain barometers, so I'll warm up to a place that my effort gets to maybe a 7 without a belt on at all. And I know that when I add 50 kilos and I put the belt on, it's going to feel about the same to me. And then when I add a suit on, it'll feel about the same when I add one more. So I know beltless and suitless, 370 is going to feel the same as 470. So right now, if I did 420 beltless and suitless, to me, that would be about the equivalent of 520 kilos if I was belted and suited. The one thing with a lift like this as well is arousal state makes such a big difference. And like, I don't care about this lift today. Like, there's really no reason for me to, other than it's just what's programmed. But if I really cared, if I hit this and it moved well and I had some people cheering, it makes a big difference in terms of results. And so maybe, because this was done last in Bradenton when I didn't have any fans, maybe a little bit more of an atmosphere will push the numbers up a bit, which I hope it does, because if say I could win with 510 kilos, I think that would be pretty uneventful. It would just be a relatively easy lift. I might be talking shit, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it hits me like a truck at 490 or something. But anyway, next week will be a good test. This is going to be 420 kilos, which is about 920 pounds. And in terms of cues, this week I'm focusing on driving my knees out, so engaging my hips a little bit more and looking up rather than down. Traditionally deadlifting, I look down, but if I look up, it's going to make my upper back a little bit stiffer, which will help with lockout. Easy, easy. It's really funny with elevated deadlifts. Like, it feels so heavy and slow when the weight hits you, but then once it starts moving, it's like fine, absolutely fine.
All right, I got two things. While you're standing there, before you take off that belt, today is the official launch date.
Oh, right. Launch date officially. The Cerberus soft belt is in. All of the pros are using it right now. I've got a lot of good feedback. It is the stiffest soft belt on the market that holds its stiffness over time. So that is the big advantage to this guy. I've been using this in iterations of this for the past 12 months. If you look back in my competitions, it won't have my little insignia on there, but it is this, pretty much this exact soft belt with a couple of changes over the year. This helped me go 8 for 9 last year. It's one of the tricks that I have used to help. And when I'm developing products right now, I want to make sure that they go in line with our values as a business and as people, and that it actually provides substantial value. It's not just another thing with my name on it. It is a different product than anyone else sells right now, and you will benefit massively from that. So you can find it on the Cerberus shop right now. They have it in stock in the UK and in the US, so you should be able to get it throughout North America and throughout Europe.
All right, got a question. This is a super chat for an unknown amount of currency that I don't recognize.
Okay.
Adama has asked, do you ever think if Mateusz had a stronger deadlift like yours, then it's game over for everyone?
No.
No.
It's not. Absolutely not. I mean, he'd be great, but if we compared Mateusz to myself, he wants to use the hack squat. So can we shift it a bit so we can? If we compare Mateusz to myself and go through events, what would he win? What would I win? Like head-to-head show. He would beat me in arm over arm. Let's say he just had a good deadlift. I'd probably still beat him deadlifting. What else? Say overhead press for max, I would beat him. Overhead press for reps, it would be close. Medleys would be close. And so to say it would just be over is I think, a bit silly. But it would certainly be highly competitive and exciting, which is what people want. All right. Unfortunately, it is time for the deadlift suit. And this is going to be 442 kilos. It feels silly for me to put on a suit for a low effort lift. But yeah, why not? I genuinely think that I could pull this from the floor right now without a suit on. And my barometer, and Laws has officially declared that he thinks I'm going to pull 505 this year. He never has said that before. And he does not say things he doesn't mean. My target, if I can pull 520 suited at 18 inches, I know I can pull 505 from the ground. So that's what I want to be capable of come show day. All right, Sizzler, I need you over here.
It's time for the deadlift suit montage.
All right, just put that back strap over me. Yep. Cool. You guys will notice when I put on deadlift suit or any equipment or whatever, I'm not, do the same thing on this side. I'm not fussed or particular about who does it or how it's done. I don't have a suit person. And this really helps. This attitude across the board helps a lot. When it comes to competition, like this year I'll have laws there, which is great, but I don't have laws here when I'm training. So it's not like I can rely on that. And so if you can just get used to, maybe the suit's not always perfect. You don't have the same person doing it. I don't know how many people have that resource available to them, but I've gone sessions in a suit where I literally just have a gym member help me out for a few minutes. And if you become less precious about your training and about the details surrounding your training, then you will be much more resilient and consistent come comp day, because that's good. As I always say, your performance will vary dramatically only if your mind varies dramatically. Your body is not that different on a day-to-day basis. Even before and after peaking, yeah, you'll be a bit more prepared, a bit more skillful and stronger. But really, after a couple of weeks of exposure, you're going to get a lot of what you're going to get out of the peak. So it's just comes down to the mental side at that stage. And doing anything to make yourself able to perform your best in a variety of conditions should be a part of your training consideration if you want to be a top-level athlete. My soft belt is somehow trapped. And by the way, even though like everyone in my gym knows who I am and what I do, and they know what a deadlift suit is, well, most of them, and if they don't, they just assume that I know what it is, I still feel strange getting in this whole like garb. To me, it's like the worst. It feels like a sex suit, but like the worst one of all time that like makes you not able to have sex. It's like a chastity suit almost. So I feel silly, even though it is my job. So if you feel silly at your gym wearing this stuff, that is a universal feeling. Get over it. You're not that cool. None of us are that cool. That's why we're doing strongman. Because we like to just lift heavy things on our own. Oh, sorry about impeding. It's just very important for me to deadlift in my sex suit in front of hundreds of people. All right, we're going 442. Quinn, would you mind recording this vertical for short form? And whoever's watching, if you guys want to record this, put it on socials. Talk about how easy and strong I am. No, how easy the weight is and how strong I am lifting it, not how easy I am. That would be much appreciated, because this should be somewhere around an RPE 0. All good? It's just easy. It's just all very easy. How it should be. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Can I watch that back? Came off pretty quick as well.
Look really good.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like weights on the bar. It's a strange thing to describe. Let me just check my program, see if it's just one single. If I got a couple. I still have some more deadlifts from the ground after this. But let's see. Elevated deadlift. Yeah, it's just one. So I'm going to 3x3 pause from the ground at 330. Cool. And then I have rows. It's a big back tolerance day today. That's for sure. But 330 is not heavy enough for me to wear a suit. So I will not. Often at Worlds, I'm not saying that we have it, but often there's a deadlift rep and a deadlift max. So everyone seems to know about the 18-inch deadlift max. So that's why I'm kind of talking about it. But if there is a rep in the heats, that's why I'm training both elevated and for reps. Little tip when you're doing elevated deadlifts, especially if it's on softer pads, you're going to want to roll it off, then put the jack on, and then modify the plates. So you don't have to battle with all the plates on and off. So if we think about this height, we're talking a 6-inch difference where a normal deadlift comes off. Because honestly, I think this is sunk to maybe 16 and a half inches. Like we might be talking an inch and a half now. But let's roll this off and try not to kill the garage door behind. Perfectly executed. Go for it. Yeah. Has anyone guessed what the overhead is in the final? Has anyone guessed what the overhead is in the final or just abandon it? Okay. All right.
So we got some guesses for the overhead finals. So we got max jerk, the Flintstone barbell press, behind the neck press, and we had three guesses. That's it.
I got to say, they're good guesses. All three of those are good guesses. And that's all I can say.
And we got some super chats. Cool. So, number one, Adama is back with unknown currency. And he's really struggling to put on weight based on his schedule, but at 105 kilograms with a 280 squat, 195 bench, 290 deadlift, stiff bar, doing well. Need your advice on what to do to put on at least 10 kilos in 6 to 8 months.
10 kilos of body weight?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
You gotta go liquid food. That's your best bet, especially when you're crunched for time. And in that, my best advice is it will feel terrible at first, but if you get comfortable going to bed on a full stomach, you will start to crave food before you go to bed. That's just an extra meal to tack on to your current day that could add easily 1,200 calories. I just put out my breakfast hack, which is a shake that is 1,200 calories. I suggest after this live, you go and seek that out. It's maybe my third most recent video I posted, but it's what I make as a shake in the morning if I'm crunched for time. Do that in the evening, and if you add 1,000 calories a day, that's 2 pounds a week because every pound is 3,500 calories. 7,000 extra calories is 2 pounds. That's how you can add 2 pounds per week. And then in 10 weeks, you'll be 20 pounds up, 9 kilos. It was 10 weeks, right?
The currency is Nigerian. Figured that out.
It's Nigerian,
by the way.
But you said 10 weeks? 10 kilos in 10 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. 1,000
Hard to
kilos
hear
extra
you
a day.
from over here.
1,000 kilos extra a day. Do it in an evening shake, and you should be good to go.
All right, we got one more super chat going on from Brandon saying, I feel like there's a little shift or hiccup between when you take the slack out of the bar and when you start to pull, which we talked about earlier, but he might have missed it. Do you feel that doesn't have a purpose?
It has no, I hate it. I don't want it to happen. But when it's an elevated deadlift, you almost like, you pull and then all of the slack comes out, and then that's when the weight hits you, and then it comes up. So that the bit where it doesn't come up, as the weight gets heavier, latency will increase. So at my max, you might see the weight stay on the ground for a good 1 to 1.5 seconds before it actually starts to rise. So you'll notice if you look at my 470 from last week, it moved about the same pace as that, but it stayed on the pads for maybe a third of a second longer. And then that's how I'll know I'm getting close to my max, is when I pull, I'm pulling, and it feels like it's just stuck on the ground. There's no benefit. I don't want it to happen, but it's a natural product of pulling from elevation.
All right. And you just got gifted 5 memberships from Ashley.
Oh, from Ashley. My Ashley?
No. Ashley Clark.
Ashley Clark. Ashley Clark, thank you very much. That's very sweet. And now all of those people can come say hello on the chat. Good, dude. How are you?
A long time.
Yeah, long time no see. I'm on live stream at the moment. No, you're right, dude.
All right. Another one from Brandon. And actually, I'm kind of curious of this one, too.
Yeah.
Are the shin scars a badge of honor, like a cauliflower ear? Always wondered why you don't wear socks. And I have the same question.
They're not a badge of honor per se. Like, it's not like I tell people about them. I don't wear socks because I struggle enough to bring like the food and the supplements and my shakers and my lifting equipment and my on. It's just one less thing I have to think about. In a perfect world, would I wear them? Like, maybe.
You just got to be a long sock boy.
But also, if we just play it through, okay, now I'm exercising in these long socks. Now they're going in the laundry. So now when I leave, I got to know it's deadlift day, and most of the time when I come to the gym, I don't know what I'm doing. I sit in the parking lot, I look at my program, I'm like, right, okay, that's what I'm doing. I don't want to look at it at home and then go to my sock drawer and find the right socks. And it's too much. I need life to be easy, as simple as possible, so I can dedicate all of my energy towards other things. All right, 3x3 here. It's such a strange feeling going from an elevated deadlift to a normal deadlift. So I don't anticipate this to feel all that comfortable.
So going into this, we have somebody trying to figure out what the event's going to be. Sween has said, Hatton has also been doing a lot of behind the head jerks. Something tells me that's not random.
If you see a lot of athletes doing similar things who are doing the same show, it's very unlikely that it's totally random. But that's just me using logic and not sharing with you at all any hints about events. Is this not the stupidest game to play ever? Like, I'm sorry, it makes no sense. Say a giant show or Strongest Man on Earth or an Arnold or whatever. When we know the events, by and large, the promoter is excited for us to put information out about the show so you guys can get excited. I don't know why Worlds doesn't want to do that. But, I mean, I suppose the answer is mostly, like, they're not a strongman promotion company. They're just like an event company, per se. An entertainment conglomerate. So, I don't know. But like, imagine saying, for golf, like, the U.S. Open is on this day, and we're going to tell you what course at some time in the future. You're like, no, I want to know. I want to get excited. I want to think about who could do well and how players will play it. And that's not a reality. All right. Set of 3 pause deadlifts. I'm doing this on a stiff bar. 330. Fresh, this feels fine for me. The problem is not that I'm not fresh, because I feel totally fine. The problem is I've just had my technique adapted to 18 inches, so now this always feels foreign and strange. So I anticipate set 3 looks much better than set 1. But time will tell, won't it, Quinn? Definitely a little bit uncomfortable. Not too hard, but uncomfortable. Oh. Quinn, when you're chatting to other people, point the mic away. Okay. Right, okay. Gotcha. You want to? He said, "Young lady." He was very particular about that. Yeah.
So not really a question, but I think it's hilarious. This guy, Jiminy Crickets.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Not to brag, but I can make half that look twice as hard.
I don't know how that math works, but I think that means you're the world's strongest man. Fuck.
All right. Are you going into a lift? Or do you want a question?
No, I'll be a minute. Go for it.
Yep. Jag Stag 2 has asked, what strongman events do you consider to be the most biomechanically fair? He's partial to stone to shoulder and log press.
I think more about the least fair. What's the most fair? There's an argument to say stone to shoulder is not fair to tall guys. There's an argument. I don't think it's a good argument, but there's an argument. Arm over arm, not really, because his height is such an advantage. I'm going to say frame, farmers, yokes, sandbags, any sort of moving event we have to carry. To me, that is dead set the most fair. There you go. It's funny how horrible this feels off the ground. Man, that was not a max out. I did not max out. The hype. Let's get a bit of hype for the LHPK gym bag, why don't we?
Hype it up for the gym bag, guys. Who has it? Sound off in the chat if you have the new LHPK gym bag.
Do it. And if you have the bag and you're a member, whew, gets me hot and heavy. Fast. There's a strongman pickup line. I'm going to call you a deadlift suit because you get me hot and heavy. All right. Quinn, objectively, how are my pauses in the first one?
Like off the floor?
I was trying to pause them as soon as I got off the floor.
I didn't even notice. So I didn't notice a specific pause. So with that being said,
obviously not very good.
Yeah. Interesting thing, I don't know if you notice when you're doing it, on your pause, when you hit your pause and you go to lift more, you dip it down and then lift.
Oh, do I?
Every time. Yeah.
Can't tell you, Quinn. This really sucks on a stiff bar as well. It's funny, like, between a stiff bar and an axle, I don't really feel much difference. But between stiff bar and deadlift bar, having the bar feel alive, I don't know how else to describe it, but making it feel alive, it makes such a big difference to me. That second one was easier than the first one, though, as expected.
I got some medical advice to give
You got what?
that this person's asking for. You ready? And I will not get this word right because I'm not a doctor. Okay? You ready? Joe has asked tips for managing medial epicondylitis. Epicondylitis.
Yeah. So, any sort of tendon pain is best treated with isometrics first and eccentrics as it starts to feel better. That being said, with that type of difficulty, we're often talking about a mobility restriction at the shoulder, particularly when you squat. So if you can't externally rotate your shoulders properly, it's going to put undue stress on your wrist and on your elbow. If you think about the torque on the medial side of the elbow, if you can't externally rotate, that's a big problem. So it's probably a result of trying to back squat or put your hands behind your head in some way, maybe a behind the neck jerk, in which case you need to work on opening up your pecs, opening up your lats, and mitigating how much volume you do with your hands back there. Maybe implementing a safety bar squat sometimes, or if it's on a behind the neck press, maybe do some of your work in front of the neck. And just be careful and calculated on when you choose to go behind the neck with high effort.
Andrew's asking, when it comes to deadlifts, is it better to rip the bar off the floor or pull it controlled off the floor?
Rip it, absolutely rip it. But the caveat is the whole slack out the bar thing, I don't know what people are talking about. And I can't wait to break the deadlift world record and then have the authority to go, I still don't know what you're talking about. But the important thing is that the slack is out of your body. So when you pull and you hit the bar, you shouldn't then see any sort of deformity in your spine, in your shoulders, in your knees. That's what's important, but you should lift the bar as aggressively as you can. Yeah, get it. So take the slack out of your body and get aggressive. Who is your arch nemesis?
I have a few, bitch.
Pick your favorite arch nemesis and just think, you gotta rip it out, or you can go positive motivation. And what's your youngest child's name? Nick. Pretend that thing's sitting on Nick. And then when you put it, no, but it's on his head. Like he can't move. Nick is trapped. And then when you put it down, pretend it's your arch nemesis underneath it. And it's back on Nick and it's up. And then it's fucking fuck you, Steve. Bah.
It's funny, there was grunting before, and one of the comments like, oh, that must be the guy.
You?
No, there's somebody grunting. And it must be, remember there was a year ago. Yeah. Mitch's best friend at the gym.
He's absolutely grinding. All right, last step. Quinn, do you want to do this for short form as well? Good. How's that last pause, Mr. Judgy? Bent over rows. Now I'm going to do these relatively light because you generally, when it's an area of your body that's susceptible to injury, which for me, my low back is, I've done a lot of hard volume, a lot of heavy work, and my spinal erectors will give out before my lats to row. So if I push this, my back is going to give before my arms. You got to think, when something is programmed, why is it programmed? And in this case, it's not programmed so I row the most weight, or else it would be chest supported, or it'd be a cable row. This is to reinforce that strong spine position for deadlifts. So I'm going to use 120 kilos, nice and easy, sets of 10, but focus on my spine, staying really strong and really stiff. Right, Quinn? Training for Sacramento. Yeah. Oh, true, actually, that's probably what it is.
All right, well, I got some questions for you here. Ian McRae.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, it's just the pause went through to someone who I don't know who it was, but I know who it is now.
All right. Ian wants to know, do you still have a beer with dinner the night before a contest? I started doing it, and it does help my sleep better.
Help me sleep better. I'm working my way up the substance ladder. So now I have an appointment with Dr. Mary every night before show and between days of shows. And Dr. Mary puts me to sleep pretty quickly.
All right. Got another one here from Josh. It's a program question for our programs. On our programs, when you have a static add of 2.5, is that to be kilograms or is it actually pounds?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it really doesn't matter. So if you think about it, when it's dumbbells, 10 kilos. It's going to tell you 12.5 kilos, and in Europe, they will have 10.5 kilos or 12.5 kilos. Same with Australia, where they use kilos. If you use 10 pounds, it's going to tell you 12.5 pounds, meaning that that dumbbell doesn't exist. Since that dumbbell doesn't exist and the weight's somewhere in between, it's just like the progressions when we use pounds. It's going to give you a poundage that you can't hit. So in that case, you can choose either the higher dumbbell or stick with the lower dumbbell. So you ultimately get to the same place. You choose for yourself and then input that number. And the next week, it will prompt you the dumbbell in between the next, if it increases the next week. And then you can choose to stick with that dumbbell or move to the next one. When it comes to cables are just so variable. It's impossible for me to know every single one of your cables and what a 2.5 increase is. So same thing applies. It will be a modest increase that you can choose either the higher one or the lower one. And the important thing is, if you do a workout, say you work at a 3x10 bench press and 3x10 tricep extensions. If you don't change the weight of the tricep extension, but you increase the weight of the bench press, Your triceps will be more fatigued from the bench press. Meaning if you do the same weight, that is a progression for your triceps as well. So don't think that every single exercise, every single week has to be a new PB. That's not how these things work. So don't feel bad if you choose the same weight. It's just to give you a reasonable guide to say this would be a good idea for you to try to hit if possible. So long-winded answer, but that's why we get the question all the time. That's why I haven't modified or specified, because there really is nothing to specify. It doesn't matter. And of course, everything else is percentage-based increased. So kilos, pounds, stones, you could use anything and you'd still get the same result. Perfect. See, very easy for me, but I can still feel myself working. And if I'm strict on position, I can still feel my spinal erectors getting work in. Not everything has to be focused on maximizing every pound. One set down, I got 2 more to go, and then I got to scoot to different areas to do the rest of my workout. So we got 2 sets left, maybe 7 minutes left on this live stream. Ask what you can. If you haven't joined the member section already, massive exercise library is going. We're about 40 exercises deep right now, where I demonstrate and give my best cues. So go ahead, click that pin comment. We're putting it behind a paywall, not so that we make money. Of course, it's a thing, but it's because if we put that on our main channel, it would kill the algorithm. All of our videos would perform really poorly. So if you're a strongman fan, you like training, you want advice, that's a really good place to go. Whereas no clickbait, no chasing the algorithm, just giving you the info that I think you would need. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, Jiminy Crickets is back with a super chat.
Lovely.
A $10 super chat.
Oh, it's in there. Thank you, bro.
After you win this year's Worlds, I'd like you to collab with Bryson DeChambeau and do a Break 50 video.
Oh, I would absolutely love to. But I'm famous in the strongman world, famous in the golf world is a big step up. So I have been close to Bryson before. I was speaking to his roommate, who's another PGA Tour player, or his old roommate, and just never quite lined up. But I would love to someday. Yeah, Bryson, if you're watching this live stream, if you're one of my YouTube members, let's do it, brother. I would be very happy to.
Got a little highlight from one of our members, Lauren Emily French. She hit some PBs.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
What's she got?
She powerlifts. She got a new PB in her bench. It's her worst lift, but she still had fun. 47.5 kilograms, 1 rep max.
Sick.
120 kilogram deadlift. Lost left the tank for that. 85 kilogram, 1 rep max high bar squat. And she mentioned her body weight earlier.
Well, first of all, congrats on the PBs. That is so good.
She's 59.2 kilograms.
She's what, sorry?
59 kilograms.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, there's just nothing that replaces the feeling of hitting a new personal best. And when you realize that it's not about the weight, it's about the accomplishment, you can take so much pride. There's nothing that grinds my gears more when someone tells me they hit a new PB and then they tell me it's nothing compared to yours. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's just your thing. It's your journey. It's your PB. It's something for you to feel good about. Obviously, you work towards it. So congratulations, and I'm glad you're taking pride in that. And thank you very much for sharing. If anyone else has some PBs they want to pop in before the end of the live, we can start a little PB party. All right, one more set, and then accessories. What do we got? You love it.
Beaclops. Don't know how to. I think it's like Cyclops, but Beaclops. I don't know. Strange question, but where do strongmen buy their furniture? I'm only 250 and have been through 2 couches and 3 beds.
Mate, what are you doing on those? Is my question. I get my furniture from normal furniture stores. I don't run into that problem. But like, I don't know, I'm not bouncing around on them and stuff. Can't tell you, brother. I suppose if you're hard on your furniture, maybe like go to the Amish or something. Like, they make the best furniture. I don't know. I suppose you get what you pay for. Like I buy nice furniture because it's comfortable and I like it. So yeah, like if I tried to furnish my house in IKEA, I would be screwed, absolutely screwed. But if you stay away from the budget places, like, and you just buy normal stuff, it should be fine. Of course, not everyone could afford that. Times are tough, but times are extra tough when you can't sit down on your own furniture or do whatever you're doing on your furniture. Oh yeah, I do break some stuff. Yeah, I broke outdoor lawn chair, and I broke one of our outdoor dining chairs. But I don't know. It's all part of the game. You should have seen what I was doing. That was on a members only live. So if you want to see that, join the members section. See what I get up to on my outdoor furniture. All right, last set. Do you know what they say, Quinn? Do you know what they say? Last set, best set. Probably not. Like the first set's usually the best set because you're not so tired. But done. Any other super chats?
Everybody's a member, so I got 2 questions left. Cole is doing a powerlifting comp soon. Bench 405 pounds, 545-pound squat, 525-pound deadlift. Is there something I'm doing wrong for why my deadlift is lower than my squat?
It could just be a leverage thing. If you have short femurs, you can often squat a lot more. If you're wrapped, most people can squat more. I would need to see your lifts to say if you're doing something wrong. On the surface, I would say yes, but I don't know what unless I actually see you. And it could just be that you have strange body proportions. So I can't really help, but it sounds like something is going wrong.
All right. And then we're back. We're back to B-Clubs. This question is not about furniture.
Yeah.
Any tips for training the aggression on a deadlift? I always feel like I pull at 60%. Keep in mind I work out at Good Life, so not much actual strength equipment. But yeah, feels like he's pulling at 60% aggression most of the time.
You said aggression on deadlifts?
Aggression and deadlifts, yeah.
I don't feel aggressive when I do deadlifts, though. Like, I just feel clear. Aggression on deadlifts. I don't know. I just have it. Like, I'm a pretty calm person until I'm not. And very few people ever see me get angry. But that little thing in me that can go absolutely ballistic is the same bit that allows me, I think, to like really explode into weights. And if you just don't have that in you, I'm not sure what to tell you. I'm not sure how to get that. It's just sort of a thing. The only thing that I can think scientifically, if you're susceptible to putting yourself at risk of any sort of injury, that's a natural shut-off mechanism. Any sort of pain is a natural shut-off mechanism that will definitely inhibit power in a big way. But outside of that, it's just sort of got to be there. And get frustrated about it. Get angry with yourself and channel that into the barbell. But think more controlled power than anger and aggression. If you can control that power, exert that power, done. And I can do that here in my basement, at a show, in a commercial gym. It doesn't matter. I can lift the same numbers, any circumstance, and that's what you should strive to do as well. Two more. Last two, and then I gotta go.
Okay, last two. Should someone who trains for strength go for a 30-minute run once a week? He usually goes for a walk on his rest days, but would like to run and wants to know if it's going to impact his training.
30-minute run once a week is not going to impact your training in any meaningful way. Go for your life.
Sweet.
Easy, simple.
Next one up, Wyatt. What's your best recommendation for training glutes to help with deadlift hinge?
I wouldn't recommend training glutes to work on deadlift hinge. I would recommend training the motor pattern to learn a good deadlift hinge. And you're not going to get that through training your glutes. I would train that through things like Romanian deadlifts, where it's just strictly hinging. Romanian deadlifts and good mornings. Stick with those. Training glutes for deadlift, in my opinion, overrated.
And that's it for my questions.
That is that. Thank you very much, everyone who popped on. Thank you to the members asking questions. If you want to be a member, comment on these live streams and see the exercise library, go ahead and click that join button. Or if you go to my page and you put in the URL /join, that will pop up as well. $5 a month. We're adding tons and tons to the exercise library, along with tens, probably hundreds of hours at this stage of seminars and live webinars for you guys. You know the deal. Until next time, lift heavy, be kind. Pop a like on the video so it gets out there for more people to see. And we will see you in our next live stream. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.